And it's Friday, December, September 6th, 2013. I am your host, Philip Wesley, the Mile High Mouth, and I'm here for Area DMG and DMGice.com, and today is your Daily Newsity. At some point, we're going to have a jingle, which I could probably insert here, and that would be kind of cool, because, well, jingles are cool. Bow ties or poofy hair. Awesome sideburns. Anywho, let's get down to business. What I'm going to do is talk about the news or whatever I want to for about 5 minutes, and this is going to happen practically daily, so you're just going to have to deal with it. Or not watch, but I'd rather you watch. I'd rather you subscribe to our Facebook, our Twitter, our YouTube, Flickr, and the main website itself. Just do that. Do that in remembrance of me. So, let's talk a little bit about what's happening in the news. We're actually taping over here at Animation is Art using a webcam, so maybe we'll get better equipment later on. We might do a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo to get better equipment so I can tape better stuff, and we'll be taping this stuff. So just deal with it. I think you'll be okay, though. I think we're all going to be okay. Definitely. So, what's the news? Here's what's happening in the world of, well, news I care about. So, Capcom is expecting to ship 1 million units of Monster Hunter 4 in Japan at launch. And on September 8th, 2013, they are going to have a Nintendo and Capcom Nintendo Direct. And in this particular Direct, they are going to talk about Monster Hunter 4, as well as a new Nintendo and Capcom collaboration. Yep. So, that's happening. And also happening are 2 Kickstarters that you should probably know about. One is Mighty Number 9, which is a brand new Mega Man game that doesn't feature Mega Man from the creator of Mega Man. And they may have 3DS and Vita Kickstarter stretch goals in the future. Essentially, it's a game by Kaiju Inafane. No, it's a Kaiji Biki Unbalance. Keiji Inafune. I think that's how you pronounce it. He is making a new game, and it's pretty much Mega Man, but without Mega Man, and with new ideas, so Capcom can't mess it up for him. And it's going to be funded. It's awesome. It looks good, and I'm going to put a link to it in our show notes for this. Also up there is a Way Forward Technologies Kickstarter for Shantae Half Genie Hero. It's a HD game for HD consoles featuring Shantae from Shantae Rescues Revenge, and Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. And it's got backgrounds from the person behind Cucumber Quest, and sprites, of course, from Matt Bozon and the team at Way Forward, and music, of course, from the ever-loving Bert, or Jake Kaufman, if you want to be formal about it. Bert, if you want to be awesome about it. One of the best chiptune people ever. Right up there with like some of my favorites, like 6955 and a couple other things. Yeah. He's also works with like OC Remix from time to time, and I really like them. They also have a new Pokemon remix album they did called the EV EP, and that's definitely worth checking out. And they have a Kickstarter. I forgot what the name of it is, but I'll find it. Anyways, there's also some other news. Nintendo announced recently that they're still dedicated to getting the Miiverse on Nintendo 3DS and 2DS and smartphones by the end of the year. So, well, whatever. We'll definitely download it and love it when we see it. My Nintendo Network ID is against, AGAINST. And if you're following me, my friend code, I can give that out later on or so. But my Nintendo Network ID is against, capital AGAINST, against. Okay, there was also a Pokemon Direct that we didn't talk about in our Newsity, but we're going to talk about here. Nintendo announced a brand new Mega Evolutions for Charizard, Bulbasaur, and Blastoise. Sorry, Blastoise and Venusaur. Yeah, Charizard, Venusaur, and Blastoise. Pretty much a Mega Evolution is you get your Pokemon. Certain Pokemon have this where they can hold a Mega Rock and your character has this little mega armband thingy, and then in battle, let's say you're losing, you can be like, Blastoise, Digivolve! And then you'll use your mega thing, and it will bulk up into something else. A new type of form, which may have new features and abilities. And that's kind of cool. That's temporary, though. That doesn't last outside of the battle. So it's a form that's only for that. Kind of like the forms they give cast form, depending on the weather. That type of thing. But they also announced at this Pokemon Direct, Pokemon Bank. It's like Lehman Brothers, but honest. Pokemon Bank can store 3,000 of your Pokemon, not 1,000, not 2,000, but 3,000 of your beloved Pokemon in the cloud for a small monthly fee. They haven't announced what that fee is yet or when this particular app launches. Right now, it looks like this app is going to launch after the launch of Pokemon X and Y. So you're not going to see overpowered Pokemon ripped from the older games into your X and Y experience until a little bit later on. And there will be a free trial when it first starts out so people can try it out and transfer their stuff. Because the other part of this particular 3D app is something called Pokemon Transfer. Pokemon Transfer lets you transfer your Pokemon from Pokemon Black, Pokemon Black 2, Pokemon White, and Pokemon White 2 to Pokemon X and Pokemon Y. So, it's going to let you do that. Of course, this means that any Pokemon that you've had from thanks to the Poke Park and the ways that you can transfer stuff from the previous games, you could have had a Charizard that you got as your starter, Charmander, in Fire Red, and through a series of generational leaps, you'll be able to take that exact same Charizard to your Pokemon X and Y save, then hand in a Mega Stone and make it into Mega Charizard, temporarily in battle. Pretty good. Anyways, that comes out at the same time as Pokemon Bank, and that does not require a fee, but I think it needs Pokemon. It works with Pokemon Bank to transfer these over. So I'm not sure if you need both of them for that. They will clarify this at a later time. Some other stuff that they put out were a red Pokemon XY 3DS XL, and then a blue Pokemon XY 3DS XL. Think like a blue XL with the legendaries from Pokemon X and Pokemon Y on the front of it. Also available in red. So, that's going to be interesting. That comes out at the end of this month. And then on October 12th, with the launch of Pokemon X and Y, there is going to be the launch of the Nintendo 2DS. We're running a little long here, but there's so much news I had to cram in. Other types of these, which have less news that I care about, will be shorter in the future. So to make up for that, we actually do have something we're going to give you near the end of this. So, but let's get down to the Nintendo 2DS. Now, the Nintendo 2DS is slightly smaller than a Nintendo 3DS original clamshell that's been opened. If you open up a Nintendo 3DS original clamshell, the Nintendo 2DS is slightly smaller than that. A lot of people have been comparing it to like the Game Boy Micro or the PlayStation Go, but to be honest, it's closer, I think, to the Game Boy Advance, the original Game Boy Advance, mind you. Now, people have been upset about it because the Nintendo 2DS is just a 3DS, but without the ability to display 3D. Pretty much it's intended for a younger audience or an audience that has trouble seeing 3D. There are people who are born with like lazy eyes or any type of injuries or have trouble focusing on that. There are people who are like, if they play with the 3D too long, they get a headache. And they just don't want that feature because they're not going to use it. Now, the Nintendo 2DS allows them to purchase and play through great Nintendo 3DS games and Nintendo DS games on a system that's much cheaper. Now, the system itself, actually, if you wanted to compare it to the Game Boy Advance, it's about that size. I don't have a unit here. Maybe we'll get one before they launch, or maybe we'll get one when they launch or something, or sometime near then, and do a video comparing the unit to other units. People are saying, oh, it's too big, it's too big. I'm like, have you guys seen this? Do you guys remember this? This is a Game Boy original, this is huge. It's much bigger than the the Nintendo 3DS XL. It is huge, and we didn't have any trouble playing with these. But let's talk a little bit about the Game Boy. Um, the Nintendo 2DS. The Nintendo 2DS is, I would say, about that tall compared to from what I've seen in the specs. It's about that tall, so you're looking at something that's about that tall and about that wide. In other words, you're looking at something that you're going to be holding a little bit like this. The little L and R buttons are at the top, and your buttons are here. So if you hold a old Game Boy Advance like this, that's about where your fingers would be on the new 3DS. On the new 2DS. Not too bad, not too shabby. Many people were complaining that aside from not being able to display 3D, the system is $130, and most likely will have sales at Toys R Us or Best Buy or other stuff there. So most likely you'll probably be able to pick one up for like $100 or $110, which is still good. And it plays all your old DS games and all your 3DS games. And there is no 3DS game that requires the 3D to work properly. Now, there are some levels in Super Mario 3D Land that use an optical illusion, but in those levels, there's a little button that you can jump on that rotates that stage to reveal whatever the secret is, and that automatically rotates given enough time. So there is no reason for you to ever really have the 3D on a 3DS or 3DS XL. It's a nice extra feature, and for people who don't want that feature, people who are like, I'm not a big fan of 3D, or I don't like 3D that much, or I would rather have the improved frame rate or whatnot from not having in 3D, the Nintendo 2DS is made for them. Now, a lot of people are also complaining that it's got a mono speaker on it. It still does stereo sound in your headphones, but not through that. Now, people are like, why would Nintendo do that? Why a mono speaker? Well, here's the thing. The DS Lite, the DS, the DSi, the DSi XL, the 3DS, and the 3DS XL all have stereo speakers. They have two speakers. The Nintendo 3DS XL barely has two speakers. But all of Nintendo's original handhelds are mono, baby. Mono. Glorious hyper mono sound. That even the Nintendo Game Boy Micro has that. And besides, most of the games for these systems, like say Mighty Switch Force or Mutant Mudds or Luigi's Mansion or New Super Mario Bros. Or Resident Evil Revelations, are made much better by having headphones. Go get a good pair of headphones or in-ear buds or whatnot and enjoy, because the sound coming out of those is worth hearing in full enclosed stereo sound. But if you're on the train and you don't want to interrupt people, just turn that volume down and don't worry about it. I'm looking forward to seeing the system in the wild, and I expect that we'll probably see it replacing 3DSs and 3DS XLs in the kiosks that they use to sample systems. Looking forward to that. It has all the features of the Nintendo 3DS and 3DS XL, except for 3D and except for stereo speakers. Those are the only two things. Battery life is slightly better than the 3DS, and slightly not as good as the 3DS XL, because the 3DS XL has a huge battery. So, that's that. It's a little bit lighter than the 3DS XL and a little bit heavier than the normal 3DS. It's kind of wedge-shaped, and it comes in black and red, and black and blue. And also in Europe, it comes in white and red. It's not being released in Japan at this time. Some people have been like, well, why would they release it? They can't use the Circle Pad Pro with it. Well, they could make their own Circle Pad Pro for that, and it would actually work better than the Circle Pad Pro for the 3DS and the 3DS XL. In order for Circle Pad Pro to work, it has to have this IR port, which on the 2DS is right above the cartridge slot. It's actually above the cartridge slot. And they could just attach it to the sides with these little pads here, so you just snap it on the sides. In fact, I think it would actually be better on the 2DS, because one, they can place this wherever they want. They can place it above the buttons if they wanted, or like slightly to the side like they do here. But the big thing is the Circle Pad Pro adds it adds ZR and ZL, see, to the unit. ZL and ZR. And then it replaces the other R button, because on the 3DS you're going not be able to access that. But on the 2DS, they can move these further in and down, making it similar to a DualShock 3 or a Nintendo Wii U Pro Pad. They can move the L and R, sorry, the ZR and ZL buttons down a little bit, move this to that, and then just let you use the normal L and R buttons on the system. So the 2DS actually has the potential of being much more comfortable than the 3DS XL. Although the 3DS XL with the Circle Pad Pro is mondo comfortable and wonderful. But yeah, personally, I think the 2DS will do well, especially since it's launching on the same day as Pokemon X and Y. It's at a bargain price, and it's safe. Parents will look and say, "Oh, okay, it plays 3DS games, but in 2D. They're not missing anything, and we don't have to worry about imaginary FDA or FCC rulings, and we don't have to worry about the imagined horrifying eye-melting effects of the 3DS." And of course, it's much more durable. It's neat. People are complaining that it's a little bit like it's kind of tablety, but look at this system. We found a way to pocket this system. You know how we pocketed this system back in those days? We wore cargo pants, or we put this system in a bag, or in a pouch in a bag. Most of these kids these days are wearing messenger bags or backpacks. This is a system. It's a system that's made for that. You just put it. They do sell like little cloth things for it. You just put that in that. Pop it in your briefcase. Done. Nothing wrong with that. It has all the same features and should be pretty good. Overall, I think that'll be neat. But that's rambling. We're almost at 20 minutes here, and we're actually done with the Newsity. So what I'm gonna do is I have a little bit of a surprise for you for sticking around for this. Dun dun dun. Bum bum bum. So, what are we giving out? Well then, you, or you, or you, or you, we're going to give out the first season of Adventure Time on Ultraviolet or Flickster. You need a Flickster or Ultraviolet account to use this code. Now, this is the first complete season of Adventure Time. So if you love parading around in the land of Ooh with Finn and Jake and all their friends, the Ice King, Marceline the Vampire Queen, Princess Bubblegum, Lumpy Space Princess, and all that jazz, here's a code for you. The code, entered in at flickster.com/getuv, all one word. You put this code in, and you get this season, the whole season. Not a bad deal. Anyways, it's a J9M9YJ9VBFF6. That's the entire first season of Adventure Time on Ultraviolet or Flickster, which is compatible with iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, some game consoles, and connected TVs. So, thank you for sticking around for this. Today has been September 6, 2013. We'll see you again soon here on the Daily Newsity. I'm your host, Phil Wesley, the Mile High Mouth. And don't forget to subscribe to our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Flickr, and all that other stuff. See you soon. Okay? So y'all be safe and have a good day.